Market Outlook. Calendar Week 40. The previous week was defined by clear market mechanics. Narrow breadth, brief rebounds, and quick mean reversion. Liquidity favored large, highly tradable names, while high beta segments were sold aggressively on weakness. For digital assets, this produced a two-track picture. Bitcoin and Ethereum held up relatively better, whereas several watched altcoins declined markedly. Quantum issued no research signals in CW39. With hindsight, this was the right decision. The combined drawdown of the observed assets exceeded 10%, and pausing activation shielded portfolios from pro-cyclical errors and unnecessary risk. Market indicators confirmed a caution regime. Bitcoin dominance rose and most recently oscillated around 57–58%. That signals capital flowing first into leaders, with altcoins benefiting only when market breadth improves visibly and demand broadens. The Fear and Greed Index slipped from neutral into fear, most recently mid-30s, matching the tendency for news-driven spikes to fade rather than extend. On the macro side, moves in yields and the USD added impulses but were not the primary driver. More important was the internal structure of crypto and participant behavior. The US dollar weakened as additional rate cuts were priced. For USD-denominated accounts, this is noticeable in display values, yet does not change the documented trading result. In the new week, we again expect conditions where trend quality, volume, and data response set the pace. Key metronomes are inflation and activity data in the euro area together with US labor market readings and the ISM indices. These releases act as catalysts. They briefly shift expectations for real rates and the USD and can lift event volatility. Experience suggests a sequential reaction within digital assets. Bitcoin tends to move first, followed by shifts in relative performance between Ethereum and larger altcoin clusters. What matters is whether rebounds are carried by more names, whether breakouts are confirmed by volume, and whether pullbacks resolve constructively without damaging structure. Market breadth remains our primary signal. As long as up moves are led by a few heavyweights and pullbacks run broad, a selective approach has the edge. The altcoin setup improves only alongside declining BTC dominance and sustained demand across several sessions. With fear and greed in the fear zone, positive surprises can trigger fast short covering bursts, while negative surprises still provoke outsized drawdowns. Operationally, this means tighter filtering of momentum triggers, priority for confirmed zones over unconfirmed ones, and a preference for signals with clear invalidation levels. We anticipate data-driven swings around release windows without overweighting the macro theme. More relevant than any single print is whether incoming data improve the liquidity picture and thereby support breadth. After last week's weakness, the dollar shows early signs of forming a base. That can shape relative performance, but it is not the central element of our baseline this week. For CW40 we plan, subject to data, volumes, and breadth, to lift the activation of our research signals up to 50% if conditions allow. The focus is on swing setups with clear, tested triggers outside immediate data windows. Around major releases, we reduce pre-positioning to avoid trading pro-cyclical spikes. Position sizes remain conservative. Stops are set to absorb typical intraday swings. Partial profit-taking helps stabilize the risk profile. With elevated Bitcoin dominance, we prioritize BTC calm ETH over broad altcoin exposure. Altcoin signals are considered only with clean structure, volume confirmation, and sufficient breadth. Token-specific events are incorporated when they align with the overarching liquidity backdrop. CW39 was a market of selective liquidity and declining breadth. Pausing our research signals protected against pronounced altcoin losses. In CW40, the emphasis stays on market mechanics rather than narratives. High Bitcoin dominance, fear and greed in fear territory, data as catalysts, breadth as the timekeeper. Provided clear triggers and adequate liquidity, we aim for up to 50% activation, quality over quantity and strictly risk-oriented. Note: This text is research. It contains no investment recommendation, no solicitation to buy or sell, and no promise of returns. Past performance is not a reliable indicator of future results. Quantum data analytics. Analytical, strategic, innovative.